Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our dedicated Q&A session for the DigiWind TUS Open Call number 2. My name is Laura. I will moderate the session today, and I know your time is incredibly valuable, especially considering that we are now on the final countdown for the call, since it will close officially tomorrow, March 20 at 5 p.m. CET. So our goal today is to ensure you have every piece of information that you need um, to submit your application through the F6S platform. So this call represents a massive opportunity for those looking to lead the charge in the digitalization of wind and energy systems. And DigiWind, together with TUS, is looking for 5 scholarships for a master's by research. These positions will be based in the TUS campus in Limerick, Ireland. Gerard, let me know if I'm saying anything wrong. And the successful applicants will receive a full fee waiver for 18 months and a partial stipend of 1,000 per month for the 18 months or until the project concludes in December 2027. To walk us through the application process, the technical scope of the project, and everything else that you may need to know, we have Gerard Cahill today. Gerard is the DigiWin project partner from the Technological University of the Shannon, and he is the best person to guide you through what the winning application should look like. So without further ado, Jared, you may start. I just want everyone to know that we will have all of the questions that you may have will be addressed at the end of the session. So you can use our Q&A feature here or just drop them in the chat as you wish, and they will be answered for sure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks very much, Laura. And good morning to everyone joining. So as Laura said, I will go over some of the steps in just to make sure that to answer any questions on the actual application process itself. So the open call, this is our second open call in TUS as part of the DigiWind project. For those that are unfamiliar, the DigiWind project itself, it's based on the digital skills that are required across Europe in the green and renewable and wind and energy systems sector. So it's quite broad in some ways. It has been identified as a key focus for the Digital Europe program, and we're delighted to be part of this. We're the only Irish academic partner in this project. So we're bringing together the digitalization of kind of how, or bringing to the fore of how these skills are taught or upskilled up to master's level. And the digital experience itself also extends to many of the roles that are out there, and they differentiate between installed equipment, which increasingly has a digital component, and familiarization with that is a key part. So the project itself, it's developing specialized education programs, or SEPs, and digital tools within the Digital Europe program itself. We receive funding from this program and Enterprise Ireland to run this by TUS for our area, and it came out of an address to address the growing need for advanced digital skills in the wind and energy system sector, and this is in consultation with industry across Europe. So TUS are delighted to be working with such a wide-ranging European group of academic and industry stakeholders. I will go through who each of these are shortly. So if you're joining DigiWind, you'll be joining a network of foremost European universities in wind and energy systems. It's an area that is, I feel like every time we discuss this, it's in the news. So it is, once again, it's in the news as a key driver. So it's a good time to be getting involved. The pillar universities consist of ourselves, the Technological University of the Shannon, based in Ireland. We're based in Limerick. We also have DTU in Denmark, who are the coordinators. of the project, one of the largest public research institutes for wind and energy. We have NTNU in Norway. We have TU Delft in the Netherlands. We have Gdansk University of Technology in Poland. And we have our industry partners as well, Irish Manufacturing Research, who are working on the digitalization aspects and the digital campus side of DigiWind. F6S, who help us with our awards process, our dissemination and promotions, and CAD people who work with digital training solutions, and Whiffle working in the area of modeling for wind farm planning and other applications of meteorological data and other large data sets. So really, I suppose the skills that we have in the network are very targeted towards the outcomes that we're aiming for. Each university, of course, has their own specializations, but you can see even from looking at the map, the areas of Europe that are covered and the experiences there, from the North Sea to the Baltic Sea and beyond. The catchment area here is quite on target for this type of upskilling that's happening at the moment, and the demands for it, of course, across Europe, not least of which, of course, is in Ireland. Just by way of, I suppose, to reinforce that message, this is just an example, but it has been this sentiment is echoed throughout government policy over several years now, about the how workers with relevant skills sometimes from other industries, often from other industries, are required to get a grounding in these offshore wind skills is one area that is looked at, and it's one of the key words here is to address skills shortages. And that's not just for offshore, of course. This goes everywhere from the grid level, demand side management, solar, and all of the other energy methodologies, how they're managed and how they're linked. And how these get built out to implement policies and from a government point of view, and from a national, I suppose, energy independence point of view, which is increasingly in focus. So at TUS, for a long time, TUS has provided industry with tailored programs. Flexibility is built in as much as possible, especially in DigiWind. For our DigiWind offerings, we offer a hybrid delivery, combining both online and in-person boot camps. And the cross-training really is to meet, again, industry demands kind of lead the focus of DigiWind, especially at TUS. One other, I suppose, example of what leads us to here in terms of policy is previous research on what the skills demands will look like in the future. There are two graphs here. One is business as usual, which would be the lower graph, and one is with interventions such as DigiWind and upskilling across the industry. It's clear there what the outcomes are in terms of, I suppose, it's just putting fairly accurate predictions and numbers on the likely outcomes of the cohorts of the available workforce that Ireland can offer then, and for the Irish market and, of course, beyond. Excuse me. So TUS itself, we have a long history of delivering these in-demand skills to industry in general, but for wind and energy systems, it's particular relevance there. The long history of running electrical apprenticeships, one of the first wind energy courses in Ireland. And as I said, we're proud to be the only Irish academic institution that's part of the DigiWind project. So the actual masters themselves, excuse me. So we're now enrolling for two of the master's programs, the Masters of Science in Electrical Power Systems by Research and the Masters of Science in Wind Energy Systems by Research. So these are run over 18 to 24 months. For the bulk of the beginning of it, there are modules that are taken. I'll go into what some of those are shortly for each master's. And then by research, because the master's by research, you will get to work with supervisors and through your studies come up with a research topic. Sometimes these are from areas of interest, areas of expertise, maybe from previous roles, previous jobs, um, or areas of research interest to yourself, which you might be just beginning or you might have some experience in. So that's how the master's programs run them in general. So it's run over, as I said, 2 years, depending on when the kickoff for certain modules are. That can be slightly variable, but it is a 2-year master's program with 120 ECTS. So to just take the Master of Science in Electrical Power Systems by research, the both of these master's programs share some common modules. But for the Master of Science in Electrical Power Systems by research, we have electrical power systems or high voltage. It covers quite a lot. Planning, operation, and control. You can see the list there. And these are very good. For some, these will be building on knowledge you already have. For others, it will be using or taking on kind of newer skills. But these are running at the moment, and our feedback is quite positive from each. We also have simulation and fault analysis for substations and protection. So you can see here we're really at the actually the grid level or the industrial size level of electrical power systems. It covers, so the size, I suppose, of what it covers is relevant to what we're talking about. So it's the switchgear, circuit breakers, protection methodologies that are used in these as well, which are in-demand skills as well. The prerequisites we'll go over a little bit towards the end as well, but to take on the MSCs, it is a bachelor's degree and English language equivalents. We'll go through those in a little bit more detail as we go. Also on this track, we have smart grids and distributed control systems and energy integration and storage. So I suppose it's linking into the larger scale of implementation of these technologies, and these are identified as in demand, and they make together with research. These will make up the master that is awarded from this program. The second one we have is the Masters of Science in Wind Energy Systems by research. So as you can see, two of the modules are, they share these modules with the other Master of Science. Here we've got wind energy systems themselves, quite a deep dive into strategies, technologies, and the best practices, looking at wind turbines and wind farms and the technical details of how these are planned, how these are designed, and all of the considerations that go into that at a let's say a high level, and diving in then to some practical examples as to how this is done and how it has been done. Operations and maintenance in wind turbines. This is particularly relevant also within this field. This is looking at the technology and the methodologies used for predictive maintenance, remote monitoring, and I suppose the integration of digital technologies is now very central when these decisions are being made as to how they're built, where they're sited. Also very important, the amount of time to realize the financial requirements for such a installation. And we also have here the smart grids and distributed control systems and integration and storage. So very key skills for the area itself. For the open call itself, so uh, DigiWind offers tuition waiver. So for those who are successful in applying, the tuition waiver is awarded. There's also a partial scholarship, so that's €1,000 a month for up to 18 months is remaining, and up to 5 scholarships will be awarded. So the applications are evaluated, and then those who are being awarded are then start the registration process. For some of the dates, as Laura mentioned there at the very start, the closing date here is actually quite soon, so it's actually 20th of March. So I would encourage anyone who's already started the journey. I know there are some who have started applying, but who might be unsure of certain steps. Let us know if we can help in any way. And for those who are thinking of it, I'll just go through here how this is actually done. The program starts in October, and I'll just leave that running in the background. So basically, as you're going through it, if you go to the digiwind.org site and go into the open call 2, there's a lot of information there for each of the steps. And they're really based on common questions. One of the nice things here is that as you're reading through this site, when you click on apply now a new tab will open, and then you'll be in the F6S site, which handles the applications themselves. And you can refer to both tabs just to update your details and provide any documentation that's required, and so on. And then your application is then submitted. At that point, it will be logged by F6S, and the evaluation process begins, and you'll be advised as to the outcomes of that. Again, if there's any questions you have while filling it in, make sure to use the contact us links which are on the site. We're only too happy to help with that. And with that, that's really just the short question or overview of what we have. So if there are any questions, I can address some of them now, Laura.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Gerard, for such an insightful overview and everything regarding the TUS open calls. So for the first question, I would like to ask for alternative access routes for those without a traditional engineering degree. If someone has a background in a different field but have worked in a related industry for several years, is this person still eligible to apply for the open call?
Yeah, and we get that quite a bit. Yeah, the short answer is yes. You are encouraged to apply anyway. Within TUS, we use a process called recognition of prior learning. So depending on the background and the nature of your experience, that feeds into the eligibility criteria. So I would definitely say that we would carefully evaluate your relevant industrial experience. That can be quite broad as well sometimes, but it is kind of it's gone through individually. Let's just say. So I would say yes, definitely. If you don't have that, perhaps your experience will qualify you as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Then the next question is, um, in the F6S application process, it asks applicants to rank their preferred master's programs. So can applicants apply for both masters, so the one in electrical power systems and the one of wind energy systems,
Yeah.
or do they need to pick just one?
Yeah, so really it's about your primary preference. I think you should indicate what it is. You can, of course, if you're interested in both, apply for both. But yeah, it is good to pick your primary one in the case of decisions being made, to make sure that that feeds into the decision-making process. But yeah, absolutely, you can apply for both.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. Third question is, the monthly partial stipend is separate to the tuition fees.
Yeah, it is. The stipend is entirely separate. to successful applicants. So the monthly stipend is you receive €1,000 per month. As I said, it's up to 18 months at the moment. And for the fees themselves, the full tuition fees are covered. They're separate, but it's not deducted from your stipend.
Okay, perfect. And regarding a master's, that since they are based at the TUS campus in Limerick, and the website mentions flexible digital learning, does this mean that um, the successful applicants will need to live in Limerick or surrounding area for the duration of the program?
So it's a full-time research position, a research study position based at TUS in Limerick. Now you'll see as well, we did mention about flexibility, which is built in. Um, uh, some of the coursework is hybrid, but for the boot camps themselves, these are in person, and it is definitely part of it to attend those. Now they're spread out to be flexible throughout the calendar, but so I suppose the short answer there is yes, you would need to be here to participate and be available for in-person supervision, lab work, that type of thing as well, which would also be part of research.
Okay, thank you so much, Jared. I see that we don't have any more pending questions in our Q&A feature in this or in the chat, so I think we can wrap this up here. Thank you for joining and for explaining everything in such a detailed, insightful way. I would just like to remind everyone that the recording of this webinar and this Q&A will be available on the DigiWind YouTube channel, so feel free to, if you want to revise or send it to any other potential applicant, you may do so. It will be still available today. Rather than that, also remember that the deadline for the applications for the TUS Open Call is tomorrow until 5 p.m. CET, if I'm not mistaken. So this is your last chance to fill your application and who knows, be the successful applicant for this tuition and fee waiver.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Laura, for hosting, and thanks to everybody for their time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.